Next tonight, Lauren Perry from West Yorkshire is just 29 years old, but a year ago she was told she was at risk of sudden death because of anorexia. Lauren wants to raise awareness of the condition, which can affect anyone of any age and involves restricting the amount you eat to lose weight.
In a moment, we'll hear from an expert that we spoke to earlier about what can be done to help those with eating disorders. But first, this is Lauren's story.
My name's Lauren Perry, I'm 29 and throughout my 20s I suffered with anorexia. I'd wake up and straight away anorexia would have control of my mind, tell me to not listen to my hunger just yet, don't eat just yet. It was like a voice on your shoulder continued telling you what you should be doing, what you should be eating, how you should look, how you should live, giving you rules for how you should go around your daily routine. I've got quite a perfectionist nature, but I think it was at school and constantly comparing to other kids, other girls at school. I think it was a comment about how I looked compared to someone else. And I had slightly bigger thighs or something, and it was that kind of made me want to lose weight, and from then it kind of got worse. So they're pictures from when we were travelling about a year ago in the Philippines. Looking back now, they do make me almost quite scared and almost a bit anxious inside about how bad I did let it get. Did get to the point where I was considered high risk and of sudden death, which is quite scary, and that's a bit that kind of shocked me the most. So this was my happiness planner, and it helped me through my journey of recovery last year. There was good days, there was bad days. For example, one of the entries was not feeling good today after feeling I lost control after having some wine. One day is not going to affect me, and at the time it made me happy. It made me realise that I was aware of what I was feeling and that to change it the next day and to be a bit stronger and that just not let it take control. Every time you win over anorexia, you almost do get that little bit stronger. The decisions became a lot more easier to make and a lot more natural, and I was making my own way of life as opposed to following anorexia's rules. It does feel like I've got freedom, like I've got my own life, like I've got control over what I want to do, and it's just it is just a whole days of discovery of seeing what I can do next. It feels very exciting.
That was Lauren's story. Mary Franklin-Smith is a psychological therapist who works with patients with eating disorders at the Leeds and York NHS Trust. She's here. Mary, how important is it that people like Lauren share their stories?
I think it's absolutely fantastic and really brave of Lauren to be able to share her story, and hopefully other people watching that might be able to recognise their own struggles, their own hope for recovery in her story, and start talking about what's going on for them. So I think that's really key.
And what support is available for people who are struggling with an eating disorder?
So there's different things happening in different parts of the country, but in Yorkshire we have a sort of intensive specialist eating disorder treatment package where people receive support from dietitians, health support workers, psychological therapists, and we sort of try to move that treatment around that person's life so they don't have to stop doing what they're doing, and we try and help them in their home environment. So there's lots of support.
Have you seen a change in the way society, and indeed the NHS, is reacting to this kind of problem, if you can call it that?
So, yes, I have, and I would love to talk about FREED, which stands for First Episode and Rapid Early Intervention in Eating Disorders. It was the brainchild of Eureka Smith, started off at South London and the Maudsley, and now there's lots of services in the UK involved and have a FREED pathway. So essentially that's an early intervention pathway.
First response is vital.
So first episode, so we're hoping to get people before the eating disorder becomes kind of enmeshed and part of their identity and they start to really feel trapped by it. So what we want is to get in there really, really early, help people identify what's going on for them and get that evidence-based treatment straight away if possible.
And what are the signs to look out for?
So I suppose there's two things, there's psychological, there's physical. So people can sometimes go to their GP with, say, a list of red herrings, and it's really important to be able to spot that if someone's coming in with, say, problems with their bowels or their cold extremities or perhaps hair loss or feeling weak or dizzy or faint, that could all be pointing towards an eating disorder. But also it's about psychological, so if someone's struggling, if they're feeling anxious, low in mood, that they might be using the eating disorder as a coping strategy for that. So it's about looking at the whole person person.
Social media, and I suppose the media generally, still use the perfect body, don't they, as the big example. Is there any way we can shift away from that to stop people being affected that way?
So perfect body, perfect life. I think that's the thing people talk about, like I've got this all this group of friends, I'm really socially active, I've got all this, I'm successful. So I guess it's about being more real. Stop putting apps up for sale that sort of airbrush people for free, and just be really, but it's not just about the body, it's also about the life and the interactions that people have, so being aware of that. And we talk about, in our social media booklet, we sort of give this out to patients and say, you know, is your social media your friend or your foe, and are you aware that what you put into your feed is what you get out of it? So it's creating a false reality for people.
Well, lovely to talk to you, Mary. Thank you for highlighting the problem.
Thanks so much.